Good morning. Tom and Alex are with you. Hey, we had a chat with Mike Patton the other day. Now, you may be familiar.
Who?
Anyone who went along to Soundwave would have seen this man strutting his stuff at the front of Faith No More, but he's been involved in lots of other different things. Mr. Bungle, Tomahawk, Fantomas, those kind of...
Fantomas. You have to say Fantomas.
Beg your pardon. But, yeah, so he's done a lot of things in his time, and it was a real privilege to have a chat to him. And when we gave him a call, he was busy scoring an Italian film, writing all the music for this Italian film. So the first thing we asked him is about the film is how you work with a film director.
Some directors want want to look over your shoulder and kind of feel like they're a part of the process. Others really, the first one I did, I don't think I was ever in the same room with the director. He just said, hey, here's what I'm thinking. And I wrote it with not to picture at all. I just said, I think I know what you mean by that. And I gave him a few sketches, and he sent him a sketch. Hey, do you like this? And it's an interesting discipline, having to sort of, in a tasteful way, cater, to a larger production. You're just like one small part of this gigantic thing, this giant machine, and if you can make it work, it's pretty satisfying. But it can also be, I've been lucky so far, so knock on wood. But I do know that it can be incredibly frustrating because the timelines, in that world are very different than in the music racket. So it's very different.
What film would you have wished you'd scored, Mike, over the years? What's a film that your music would have, or you had some great ideas that could have gone into a movie?
Gosh, I don't know. I've always been interested in film music, and I remember when I got my first VCR, it had a input, like a stereo input on the front. I thought, ooh. So I started recording my
Is that
own
what you thought?
scores.
You thought, ooh?
Kinda. I started recording my own scores over the top of these, videos that I liked, and that's kind of how I got started in that. It was just, I'd take a scene from, Goodfellas, for instance.
Yeah.
There's that scene where he's pistol whipping that guy, and I wrote a piece of music that matched every one of his hits. Boom, 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 So, yeah.
We should get a hold of that old footage and see if we can play it. Or
You should put that on YouTube, man.
An internet video or something.
I don't think it would look too good. It's an old VCR about, I don't know, God knows, from the 80s maybe.
It's not just music when you do it, when it comes to movies though, Mike. You've also provided voices for stuff like video games, but also Will Smith's I Am Legend. Can we chat a little bit about that process? Like, how did you end up being involved in that project, and what did you actually do in the movie?
It was completely by chance. Someone who was working on the film as part of the production, they were having some sort of a production meeting. Gosh, I'm not even really sure what my friend does. I think he's a producer. The film business is so mysterious. There's a million people running around, and no one knows what anybody's doing, So my friend...
It was a grip, maybe. Best boy.
Yeah, getting donuts for other guys. I don't know. They were having some meeting about the sound effects, what they wanted the sound effects to sound like, and I believe it was the director or somebody from the director's camp said, hey, we don't want to use the stock Hollywood sound effects for the monsters, for the zombies in this movie. We should get a human being to try and do it. And everyone kind of starts laughing, and then someone joked, oh, well, yeah, I don't know how many people could do that. And then my friend blurted out, oh, I know this guy, Mike Patton, might be able to handle it. And they all kind of stopped and went, really? You think he would do it? He's like, I don't know, I'll call him. And so he asked me, and I was like, man, that sounds like a blast. And, to be honest, it wasn't like a... You may not believe this, but it wasn't like a moneymaker belief. It was
okay.
It was very, I was just like a Hollywood hack, walking into a room, and but I did it for the experience, really.
Sure.
And I walked into this studio, this small kind of post-production studio that had like a film screen in the room, and they played the couple of the scenes that they wanted me to voice. They played them to me over and over, explained a little bit. Okay, this guy should have that kind of sound, and here's the big dog. He should have a deep voice, and then there's this female zombie. Give her a different sound, and basically they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, why don't you just roll it, and I'll try and keep up. So I just improvised to the movie in front of me, and we recorded several takes, and that was it.
Was there a moment halfway through that where you're like, this, I mean, I know you weren't getting paid, but halfway through you're like, this is my job. I'm watching a film and making the noises of the dogs that's there.
No, I didn't think that because I was too worried about getting it right.
Too focused, yeah, right.
Maybe later on I was kind of like, that was strange. But No, it was fun. Actually, it reminded me of, I don't know, doing an improv gig, which,
Cool.
you know, I've done a lot of those, and it's really fun. It's very momentary and very, you have to be dexterous and think on your feet and be very quick, and you have to listen and watch and have all of your senses kind of engaged. And instead of, you know, playing with a saxophone player or a guitar player or a full band doing that, where we're all interacting, I was interacting with a visual stimulus, and that was cool.
On Triple J this morning, that is Mike Patton. We had a big chat to him, chat about lots of different things, chatting there about his work in the film industry. And we just asked him if he ever gets a chance to take a break.
It's so much fun that it's almost like having a break. You know, a lot of things I do, I feel like I'm on vacation. Like making this Mondo Cane record was a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of worrying, a lot of logistics. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't in some ways, like a vacation for me. And I think musically, it definitely is. You know. Let's
chat about the album. It is a really interesting, I guess, concept for an album. If people aren't familiar with the Mondo Cane concept, can you run them through it, Mike?
It's just it's a record I made in Italian with an orchestra and about a 10 or 12 piece band. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I lived in Italy for a while and was really just juiced on the music there. But especially, I really fell in love with the sounds of the 50s and 60s, what they were doing there, because it was a really I think amazing sort of amalgam of, you know, film composers working with pop musicians and using American models and, you know, doing adding this Italian soul to it, and it was like avant-garde shit, and I thought it was really to me it just immediately perked up my ears, and when I was living there I thought, maybe someday I'll try something like this. And many years later I got the opportunity to work with an orchestra, and I felt like, well, maybe this is my chance. So I pulled it through and pulled it together in time, and well, I made it.
It certainly did, and it's one of the, for mine, Mike, it's one of the most unusual and yet unusually catchy and just sort of sucks you in album that I've heard for a long time. And how do you find the reaction from people who are sort of familiar with your previous work, of course, famous with Faith No More, but all other things? Have you heard from them adapting to this new sound, or do you find you're getting a whole new group of fans, maybe Italian-speaking fans, from this new stuff?
Hard to say. I don't really have, for better or for worse, I don't have a real close or personal relationship with my with fans or people who appreciate the music I'm doing. You know,
you're not tweeting all the time, Mike. You're not looking on your Facebook.
There's a mutual respect. I think I respect them, and they listen to me, and at least, you know, I'm feel really thankful that you know, they take the time out to actually pay attention to what I'm doing, and I'm very grateful. But, you know, I'm not doing this to like entertain them. There's a lot of other reasons why I'm doing this, and entertainment is fun sometimes, and I think that this is an entertaining record. I think this is a record that gosh, you know, a black metal guy in Norway could, you know, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen guys in Finland with dreadlocks and tattoos and piercings all over their faces crying to this music.
Wow.
And that kind of told me, well, I suppose this maybe can touch anyone. So that's kind of the way I look at it, and yeah, I just hope it can be appreciated by, I want anyone to like it, you know?